Hi, everyone. This is Mitch live from the Doghouse. I have special guest today, NFL expert Steve Monahan, joining us from New Jersey, halfway across the world. Welcome to the Doghouse, Steve. We got NFL football, week 2, a lot of excitement. We're going to find out who the pretenders were in week 1, who the real contenders are in week 2, as we have some teams playing their first home game of the season. We have some teams that still haven't played at home, and just a lot of excitement. Steve, welcome to the Doghouse. It's been a long time coming.
Hey, Mitch, thank you very much for having me. Hello, everybody. Exciting week 2 about to start. So let's talk some football, Mitch.
Absolutely excited to do it. Good morning. And to everyone that's joining us, of course, we had college football yesterday, and I gotta say, I think Central Florida would still like to score 5 or 6 more touchdowns against Stanford. I'd be surprised if anyone mentions this whole not playing a Power 5 team again to UCF, because they really, really took it out on the Cardinals yesterday. But, of course, lots of action today in the NFL. Every team will be playing today that didn't play on Thursday and doesn't play tomorrow night. So we've got 28 of the 32 NFL teams in action. Of course, welcome to Steve Monahan, who's joining us here live in the Doghouse for NFL Week 2. The thing about,
it's a Doghouse in New Jersey, baby.
Absolutely, halfway across the world from Maui, Hawaii, where I'm at. But, the NFL season, it flies by really quickly. It's like, you say, well, it's only week 2 and all of that stuff. But, we look at college football where it was week 3 yesterday. That means a quarter of the college football season is over for a lot of the teams. So in the NFL, these games are the ones like what Pete Rose said about baseball. It's the games in September that make the ones in December count. And good morning to everyone that's joining us all around the world. And, of course, we have a large New Jersey contingent here. So, Steve Monahan joining us.
Jersey strong, baby. Jersey strong.
Of course, if you have a question about a game, the way to do it is Team A versus Team B and the point spread. So anybody who just happens to be tuning into the video knows exactly what we're talking about. Steve's first time in the Doghouse, so you can see that he's looking at the screen, trying to see your comments, trying to see what everybody is saying while he's doing the show. He doesn't quite have the monitor set up like I do.
Still a little in a makeshift production mode here.
He's in a makeshift production mode, but of course, we're going to be answering all your questions. I know what's going to happen today. You guys know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. You guys are going to ask questions, but basically, we're just going to go through every game on the schedule, and we're going to give picks. I'm going to give my opinions. Of course, I have my best bets already. Yes, Jersey is in the house here in Maui. So, you know what? Let's just get it rolling. I knew people were going to ask about this one. Johnny 5, Pats minus 19 versus the Dolphins. Steve, you want to kick off the show for us? What do you think is going to happen down in Miami?
I'm back and forth on this one, to be honest. You and I talked actually a couple of days ago. Listen, the Patriots have gone down there. I mean, it's uncanny how they've lost 5 out of their last 6 appearances. Of course, Gronkowski, Kenyon Drake last year, all that wild stuff. It's a huge line, 18.5, I think it is right now, if I'm not mistaken. I like the Patriots to kick the crap out of them. I really do. I just think there's too much dissension in Miami. Everybody wants out. Not a believer, in the beard, Fitzpatrick. I think the Patriots are loaded. Brown's coming into play. Brady. It's a big spread. I'm going to go with the Patriots covering, though.
I'm from Miami. Call it a homer pick. I'm going to go with the Dolphins in this one. They've owned the Patriots in Miami, not just covering point spreads. We're talking outright wins, 5 of the last 6. And this hasn't exactly been the glory days of the Miami Dolphins either, or the low-life times of the Patriots when they were drafting Kenneth Sims and Reggie Dupart and our friends with the number 1 overall picks. These have been the, Tom Brady, GOAT, Patriots that the Dolphins have been knocking off. Of course, we have a coach for the Miami Dolphins who was a coach on the Patriots. Is very, very familiar. We have trouble players on the Patriots. Not something really new over there. Corey Dillon was in the house at times, but Antonio Brown. You got Josh Gordon. It's kind of like the movie Blow with the scene with El Padrone when he says, "I know like problems." That's Belichick in this situation. That's probably what he has said to these guys. But we know where there's smoke, there's always fire, and I think that there is some trouble in this Patriots team. Going on the road for the first time this season, it's going to be about 650 degrees in Miami with about 400% humidity. I'm going to have to take the Dolphins in this one. I always do, right? Against the Patriots.
All right. I knew that going in. But I'm going to go on a limb here with the Patriots covering.
I'll take
especially
the Dolphins.
Again with how the game ended last year. I think there's payback that the Pats have a little more incentive.
Okay, well, we're not going to agree on everything, but
I don't expect us to.
You and
I haven't agreed since 1983 when we met, for Christ's sake.
You want to lay 3 touchdowns with a guy who can't get a helmet to fit. That's good. That's fine with me. We'll keep moving right along as we go down the list. Morning to everyone that's joining us all around the world. Welcome to the Dog Pound, the Dog House. We got the Giants +2 against the Bills in this one. Steve, what are you thinking?
Well, let me say the Bills were actually in the Meadowlands, MetLife Stadium last week against the Jets. I really like the Bills' defense. Sean McDermott being the head coach, his 3rd year with them. Josh Allen, again, second year. Giants they look like crap last week. Sterling Shepard, one of their top receivers, is out. Eli is struggling. The offensive line didn't look good. Barkley is outstanding, don't get me wrong. I'm going to go with the Bills here. Even though the Giants are home, I'm going to go with the Bills.
Well, we're going to get the opposite opinion once again on this one. I rarely take the Giants. I am a Giant hater. Matter of fact, I said Saquon Barkley was going to be a bust. We'll add that to my list of the 10 million things I've been wrong about in my life. But I'll tell you one thing. Teams that play back-to-back road games in the NFL get absolutely slaughtered on the tail end of that. And it happens all the time. And it's just, it doesn't, I like the direction that the Bills are going. I like teams that can cut bait with and move on. That's what I do, right? I mean, this is what we do. It's like, I love them. I know I said that last week, but this week I'm saying this. And it's like, I do it all the time, but I'll tell you one thing is that I really don't trust the Bills to win back-to-back road games. I don't even care if it's in the same stadium. This is a team that hasn't been home yet, so we'll be watching the Bills next week when they get back home to Orchard Park. But I got to say that as much as I don't like the Giants, home opener, I've been to the Meadowlands. I know the Bear is looking down on me and saying, "Holy shit, Mitch just took the Giants." I'm taking the Giants at +2 in this one.
Just because I live in Jersey, I'm intimately familiar with the Giants. There is something going on there that they're not back yet. There's still a lot of pieces that they have to fix. So, again, because I saw the Bills up close and personal last week, I really like the defensive scheme. I like the Devin Singletary, the running back there, so the run game is looking good. I just, and to your point of 0-2 or starting on the road the first 2 games, that's a monumental task. However, I'm going to go with the Bills.
All right, we're going to move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars up against the Houston Texans. This pick is on the total, whether it's going to be over or under 43 points in the Jags versus the Texans game. This is going to be a defensive war. J.J. Watt didn't really get to the passer last week in that Saints Texans game, but the Texans defense played pretty well against that high-powered Saints offense. In the second half, kind of wilted down, but now they get back home. Meanwhile, the Jaguars played the Chiefs, who, you can say what you want about Minshew. You can say whatever you want about Leonard Fournette. You can say all you want about the Jaguars. I don't think anybody wants to see the Kansas City Chiefs in week 1, coming off of, a championship game loss last year at home against the Patriots, with the loaded gun, another guy I was dead wrong about in the draft, Patrick Mahomes, right? Dead wrong.
I think everybody was, though.
Yeah, everybody, except for Andy Reid, right? Who traded up to get him. But, I think that we're going to see some points in this one. I think Minshew is a little better than what we think. I think we are going to see some defense in this game as well. But I think we are going to see some scoring. Both teams are going to keep the rock on the ground. I mean, this is going to be a black and blue type game. This is not one I'm rushing out to bet.
Me either.
You know what? I'm gonna defer to my old trusty Lucky Penny. 11-2 so far. Heads for the over. Tails for the under. We're going to flip it for Mike Reynolds, who took that picture of himself in our Old Sites t-shirt in front of the Orchids of Asia Day Spa. So a little place in my heart for that one. We're going to take the over in the Jags-Texans. Steve, what do you think?
I like the Texans at home. The Gardner Minshew era has begun. Foles is out, obviously, to week 11. The kid came in. Nobody ever heard of this guy, but the Texans have had a week to prepare for him. I like the, Texans being home. Watson is a good quarterback. Hopkins is really tough. They have a good defense. Jags, don't get me wrong. I like the acquisition of Carlos Hyde for the ground game. I'm going to just take the Texans flat out at home. I like the fact that they're home, and I'll go Texans on this one.
All right, Texans laying 7.5 points in this game. That is a ton in a divisional game. I didn't give out my pick on the side, but I like the Jags and the points. You guys know. Show me a dog. Show me more than a touchdown in a divisional game. It's usually enough to at least entice me. This next game, I love this one. We got the Lions taking on the Chargers. The Lions, a home dog here, getting 1.5 points against Phillip Rivers, who, you never really have to worry about the opposition who Phillip Rivers is facing because he always has the ability to beat himself and to drag his team down to their level. But he does have that cannon arm, and he does have a sick defense. And, Gordon or no Gordon, this team is, you have to consider them a contender. And up against the Lions team, Matt Patricia, obviously the meltdown in Arizona, which we predicted, on this show last week. And Steve, what do you think is going to happen here in Pontiac?
Chargers going on the road. I like the points you made about Rivers. He can have 1,000 yards, but somehow or another he's going to throw a big pick here and there. Chargers coming to Detroit. Like you said, Detroit looked awful, or had the tie with the Cardinals last week, home opener. I'm going to take the Lions at home on this one.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I never really talk about my stuff, and you guys have all seen my house and my garage and, whatever the hell. You guys see me every single day. And, but one thing I got one of these in my garage, and the Detroit Lions have paid for this. Betting against them, they've paid for this. So I'll tell you, I'm going to stick with what has paid for everything. I got bills to pay. I see Lions. It's one of those automatics. There's a couple teams in the NFL where it's like, or in college as well, and we see them in baseball too, or like, it's kind of, we call it the Andrew Kashner effect. Kashner, other team, right? It's like you see Kashner's name in the starting lineup, whatever team he's on the Red Sox now, he's with the Orioles, Rangers, whoever he was with, you see Kashner, you automatically take the other team. I do that with the Detroit Lions, and until they show me something else, I'll take my 12 to 14 wins a year betting against the Lions all day. I'm going to take the San Diego Chargers. What we have here is a pretender against a contender. And the Lions, got to remember, last year, their season opener, they opened at home on Monday night last year, and they lost. I mean, they got handled. I mean, not just lost, they got crushed by the New York Jets, okay? That's how bad this team is.
I'm aware.
I'm going to take the Chargers. I love betting against the Lions. I'm telling you, it has given me a life beyond my wildest dreams. Betting against the Lions was like betting against UCLA when Jim Moore Jr. was the coach. It's just, I can't help myself. And it's one of those things when I get to the betting window and I'm going to bet against the Lions, I better have my ATM card with me. I better have a friend who's got an ATM card with them and a wallet full of money because by the time I get there, the bet has quadrupled because I just love betting against the Detroit Lions. Keep moving right along. Welcome Steve Monahan to the Doghouse. Been wanting to have Steve on for a long time. He does a podcast with his brother. Steve, you want to tell our audience just really quickly about your podcast that you do?
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Mitch. My brother and I just kind of started within a year. It's called Sports with Mono, M-O-N-O, and Mono, M-O-N-O. You can find us on SoundCloud and YouTube. We're just getting started. Appreciate the following. Just go to SoundCloud, hit follow, and you'll get notified. And we do the podcast once a week right now. And appreciate the shameless plug, Mitch.
No problem. Of course, we move right along. We're going to head to the Queen City, Cincinnati, Ohio, Porkopolis, where the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the San Francisco 49ers. No one hates John Lynch more than I do, of course. He's the guy that everybody hated in high school. He's smug. He's smarter than everybody else. He's better looking than everybody else.
Stanford man.
Exactly. Can't stand them. And it's like watching the Niners get their ass kicked week after week last year was really, we just enjoyed it live here together. And I'll tell you, I know that they played last week really well at Tampa Bay, especially in the second half. And they kind of dressed up that score in the fourth quarter. But back-to-back road games in the NFL, I don't care if you're playing against who you're playing against. Cincinnati coming off of a tough loss in Seattle. And I have to say, one of the gutsier performances of week one was the Cincinnati Bengals, who scored that touchdown right before the half against the Seahawks. And I liked the Seahawks a lot last week. They were just gutsy. No A.J. Green. Didn't matter.
No A.J. Green again this week, too.
Yeah, well, he won't be playing. I don't think he's going to play this season. I mean,
I wouldn't disagree with you on that one. And Mixon's banked up a little bit, too. But it's at Cincinnati. I like the point that you made about the Niners having on the road. I'm going to go Bengals here.
Yeah, the Niners never went home. They still haven't been home. So they went to Tampa last week. They went right to Cincinnati, probably eating some Geta, probably getting some Skyline chili, and probably going to get it handed to them by the Cincinnati Bengals in their home opener today.
I'm going to go Bengals. Is this the first one we're agreeing with?
Yes. We're going to head to one of the feature games, and we got David Stanton in the house with us. David's asking about the Saints-Rams game. We got the Rams -2.5 hosting the Saints, a rematch of last year's NFC Championship game. Revenge in mind here for the Saints, and of course, we have revenge in mind for the Saints, and we have the Rams, who looked really, really good in week one, playing against a physical Panthers team. I'm not a Jared Goff fan, but
I am big fan. I love Jared Goff. Really, I think he's going to be. My brother and I on our sports podcast actually had a conversation about this. Jared Goff, to me, I saw the biggest improvement, I think, from his rookie year to a second-year kid. I really can't think of anybody else that, Eli Manning, for Giant fans out there, was so bad his first 2 years that everybody was ready just to throw him to the curb. And then, obviously, 15 years later, 2 Super Bowls, that type of thing. Big Jared Goff fan. I'm just going to jump right in here, Mitch, and say I like the Rams at home. I know the Saints got screwed last year, down in New Orleans in the championship game. Everybody does. It's a great matchup, 2 evenly matched teams. I really think we most likely would probably see a rematch, in the playoffs at some point. 2.5 points. Gurley's got to get going. If he gets 20 carries, the Rams typically have a really good record with that. They got to get him going, man. I mean, Gurley, I don't know what's up with them. If that knee is really as balky as it was last year, but I'm going to go with the Rams on the 2.5 point season.
I'm going to have to agree with you here and take the Rams. Personally, I hate Jared Goff. I think when we look at the number 1 overall draft choices in recent drafts, he's right there in line with some of the other busts that I see out there. Maybe not busts, but purely overrated. I think Jared Goff's great improvement last year was that they added about $500 million to the payroll on the defensive side of the ball, and the guy played on a short field, surrounded by superstars at basically every position. When Kupp went out last season, Jared Goff's numbers hit the floor, and they never picked up again, including the Super Bowl where, let's just say, if he would have thrown a couple of balls, just a little bit better, they win that game.
I agree. The Super Bowl performance wasn't the best.
You hold Tom Brady to 13 points, you got to win. You got to win. If you can hold the Patriots just not even chances, you have to win the game. And Goff wasn't able to do that. The thing is about this one is the Saints and the revenge and all this other stuff and the screwed and everything else. I think just as equal on this one, the Rams saying, these guys keep saying we got lucky. Let's show them how lucky we got. And I think they're going to pound him. Aaron Donald. I was not overly, thrilled with the way the Saints played in week one. They were home. It was Monday night. It was against, they had every single opportunity. I know the Texans are a good team, a playoff team. They're not a great team, especially with the injuries that they've had, and especially after losing Clowney. I like the Rams in this one. I think they're out to prove a point. And of course, when you got a kicker that can kick it 60-something yards and you're laying it less than a field goal at home in the home opener for a team that went to the Super Bowl last year and lost and is only thinking about getting back and getting revenge, I have to go with the Rams in this one, -2.5. I'm going to have to agree with Steve Monahan on this one. Of course, those of you joining us late, welcome to the Doghouse. We got Steve Monahan joining us for the first time. Old friend, NFL expert.
Yep.
Air quote it. And we have right now 217 people that are watching us live. I'll show you guys right on my screen across multiple channels. I don't know what am I showing it. I can't. I'm not doing a good job with my camera. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
You can see it right there. 217 people across multiple channels. And of course, we're going over NFL Sunday. If anyone has baseball questions as well, I'll probably answer those. What the hell? I'm here anyway. But anyways, we'll keep rolling right along.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve. It's Steve Gupatas. Thank you for thank you. Good morning to you as well. And it's always I didn't go anywhere, so I'm not really back, but I'm kind of like at a new place. And all of you guys that have supported me with the move, I appreciate it. Good morning. We got everybody. The Mitchell brothers, Pittsburgh -3.5 against the Seattle Seahawks. Steve.
I like the Steelers. They couldn't have possibly played any worse in week one. They got their asses handed to them by the Patriots. James Conner couldn't, rush on that day last week. I'm a big fan of him. I like that the Steelers are home. Seattle's got to come across the country. A Tomlin-led team. I just can't see them laying an egg again. I'm going to take the Steelers home.
I'm going to jump on the other side in this one. I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks. This is one that I almost made my best bets list for the day. I think that 3.5 is just too many. I think this is a 1 or 2 point game either way. I think this is one of those ugly, ugly, ugly games where, it looks like just a mess from start to finish. But that's where the Seahawks live. That is their game, is this messy, ugly, how in the hell did they possibly win that game type of game, and that's Russell Wilson's game. And I could see this one coming right down with a 1 or 2 point lead for the Steelers. Russell Wilson with the ball, driving down the field. Either they make it or they don't make it, but either way, I like the points in this one with the Seattle Seahawks. I just think that, like I said, Clappy, he knows how to get his players motivated. I don't generally like the rah-rah coaches, but Pete Carroll, he claps at everything, and I'll tell you what, Clappy is one of my favorite coaches at this point, a guy that I used to not like at all after the Dan Marino choke signal, and of course at USC, the whole thing. But Clappy in the NFL always seems to come through for me. He didn't do it last week. I think Clappy and the Seahawks cover this week. I'm going to take the.
I'm not.
It's a tough one. It's a tough game. Yeah, no doubt
about it. I'm a huge Russell Wilson fan. They got the run game. They got Clowney, but like you said, to your point, they're a dirty, ugly winning type of team.
That's their game.
However, Pittsburgh,
at home, Pittsburgh always gets if
they haven't gone 0-2 since 2013. They're home. I think Pittsburgh rebounds with.
Well, I think the issue that I have with the Seahawks winning the game outright, and I think the points here is a big deal. And the issue I have with the Seahawks winning outright is you have the team that always has the crap call that goes against them in the Seahawks, and the team that always gets the crap call in their favor with the Steelers. So Steelers at home, king of the crap call. Seahawks on the road, king of the crap call against. So you have
a lot of crap going on here, man.
A lot of crap, and you have NFL ratings still looking to rebound, which is why my Super Bowl picks were who they were. And, we'll get to those teams as we come through for those of you that don't know them already. So we got 237 people watching us live. Thanks to everyone who's joining us live. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to hit the thumbs up. If you watch and subscribe to our channel. If you're watching us on Facebook, share, like, tell your friends, tell your whatever. Or just join our Facebook group and join in the conversation all day long, just like we do. Ray Gonzalez says, Green Bay -3 versus Minnesota at Lambeau Field. Steve?
The frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
Yes, in September.
In September, right. I'm going with the Pack at home.
Yeah.
What else? Let's see. The Pack have won 6 straight home openers. I like the Packers.
I love the Packers.
Minnesota's talented with Dalvin Cook and Mike Zimmer. Obviously, is a defensive guy. Rodgers, to me hasn't really been Rodgers of late. Last year and so on and so forth. But I like the Pack at home. I do.
All right. Well, with Aaron Rodgers, okay, last year, I'm a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. Last year, okay, he broke his leg in the first game of the season. Not only did he finish the game and pulled his team back to a win, he played the entire season with a broken leg. They almost made the playoffs. Of course, he got his coach run out of town. And if you didn't see week 1, he went into Chicago and beat this Bears defense, which I think they blitz on every single play. And he still single-handedly just created plays. It looked like they couldn't get anything going. And then all of a sudden, connect. Yep. What looks like he makes it look so easy. An easy touchdown, and I think the Packers are only going to get better. I'm going to take the Packers at home. I like the way the defense looked in week 1, even though it was against Mitch Trubisky, which a lot of defenses look good against. But I think the Packers defense looks greatly improved. We all know what happens in Green Bay. They score the touchdown, they start jumping into the stands, and then all of a sudden more guys are jumping in the stands, and more guys are jumping in the stands, and Kirk Cousins is the other quarterback, so defensive guys are going to be jumping in the stands, and the picture, and this is one of those games that if you hate the Packers, just don't watch it. Just don't even watch it because it's one of those games. So we did this game. So I don't know Alex is saying that the Patriots have it. I think a lot of people staying away. Speaking of the Chicago Bears, John Mazlick's asking us, Chicago Bears -2.5 at Denver. Traditionally tough place to play in the altitude Mile High. Of course, that Denver pass rush did not look effective at all against the Raiders in week 1. Totally flat. So short week here for the Broncos. A long week for the Bears who played on Thursday night at home. Of course, Mitch Trubisky, this is a guy who has played well in the first half of games, really poorly in the second half of games, and I really hated that draft pick, and I hated that trade, and I've been bashing it ever since, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to continue to bash it here again. Denver, just a really tough place to play. Joe Flacco, he looked shot, but the Broncos have won with shot quarterbacks before, and you do that with the pass rush, and I think that this pass rush against Mitch Trubisky, I think the under is a great play in this game, but I'm going to take the Denver Broncos as the home dog. I love a good dog. I love a home dog, and I'm going to take the Broncos +2. Steve?
I tend to agree with you on this one, Mitch. It's a real tough place to play. Vic Fangio, obviously, is the Denver defensive-minded coach. Like you said, Chubb and Miller kind of were ineffective in week 1. I look for their defense to rebound. And Trubisky, I don't hate him as much as you do. I think he can be a good quarterback. Not for the mortgage that they paid for him. I agree with that. Don't get me wrong on that front. But he's going to be the quarterback there for a while.
This is a guy, Trubisky's a guy, he's a guy that could have used another year of college. That's really what he is. He's a Mark Sanchez who, if he stays in college another year, he probably has a great long career. In this case, I'm going to guess that
better than Mark Sanchez.
When the contract is up, the Bears will be quarterback shopping once again. That's all I got to say.
I don't know about that, but okay. But anyway, to the picks for our folks out there, I like the Broncos.
So, Miles and Smiles, good morning to you. If you're going to list a pick like this, you got to tell me what the number is. It's over-under doesn't help us. You got to say what the over-under number that you're looking at. Falcons Eagles, the Sunday night game. Steve, it's a pick 'em in Atlanta.
It really is a pick 'em, I think, on this one. I like the Falcons at home, I think, on this one. Carson Wentz, listen, he was one of the top quarterbacks last week. He had a good game, bringing him back against the Skins. Deshaun Jackson, I think that I hate Deshaun Jackson personally, but he still got wheels. He had his first freaking touchdown pass caught in, 200-something, I don't know. It was a long time, man. But Falcons home Sunday night, I like the Falcons. I hate the Eagles. I'm a Cowboy fan for all your listeners out there. But I don't let that affect my judgment. But I do hate the Eagles beyond words. Don't get me wrong. So I'm going to go with the Falcons at home.
Well, I tell you, I'm an Eagles hater for other reasons. I think that they're overrated, and I said they were overrated last year. I'm not a Carson Wentz fan. I think that he is overrated, and he's never accomplished anything at the NFL level. And I think that he gets paid like a guy that does. And for some reason, I don't understand it. The Eagle fans love him, even though he doesn't win football games. And
or doesn't play really because he's hurt all the time.
I think there are certain games from last week that you could say, well, we learned something here, and there's other games that you could say you got to throw it out. And I think when you go to Minnesota on the road for opening day, that is another really, really tough building. Scott Studwell blew the horn, to start the game, and they were on fire. that crowd, just like last year, Buffalo went in there and beat them. Sometimes you just have to throw those games out. But I really think the Falcons are a team to watch. Last year, I thought they were a team to watch. I didn't like them as much as some of the other handicappers out there liked them and picked them to win the Super Bowl. But I like them a bunch, and I think they're a lot better team than what we saw last week, and I think they're a lot better team than what we saw last year when half their roster was out by the third week of the season. You have some of the best receivers in football, and you have a quarterback who, if you give him just a little bit of time, he can really do some damage. And with Ridley and, of course, Jones, it doesn't get much better than that at wide receiver. I think the defense is also good. And the Falcons, they had big injuries in the secondary last year. I think Wentz, you get some pressure on him. He starts lofting balls in that secondary. I think he's going to have some problems. And, of course, inside a dome stadium on the road for a night game, never fun. Those of you attending the game, Chick-fil-A is closed on Sunday, so you might want to grab something to eat before the game. Of course, I don't know, Brad's talking to somebody else. Chargers versus Lions over under 47. We talked about this game briefly before. In this one, I'm just going to give my pick, and then we'll carry on. I think this game goes over 47 in the Chargers-Lions game. We did the Steelers-Seahawks. Good morning to everyone joining us. Alex talking to somebody else. You guys got to take that to the Facebook group. Bears Broncos, we did. Yep, we killed them yesterday in college football. A lot of dogs. We were all over the dogs, and the dogs were barking. And, the games that we lost that were the tough losses yesterday, all of them were where we were out of our wheelhouse, taking favorites. They were favorites that didn't cover the spread, that won the game and didn't cover. Marshall is on the 2-yard line. They get the first down, and then they take the knee and don't punch it in for the touchdown. Same thing with Oregon. And, just a few things like that. That's why I always love being on the dogs, because I like starting with points to win.
Right.
Rams over Detroit. They're not even playing each other today. Barkley, Eagles versus Falcons. You got to say it. Team A versus Team B with the point spread. Did this one. Mitch, we have to get off the show. Mitch, we have to get off the show. He confusing public. I don't know what that means. Morning. Yeah, I mean, nice with the penny. Wow, so we're way behind on these comments. Seattle, we did this one. Patriots, Dolphins, over under 48.5. I'm gonna say under. Yeah, we've agreed. I'm just way behind.
Yeah, we got off to our early start. We didn't agree on anything, but we've had a couple of agreements.
Yeah. Chargers are real square. Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to delete you. That's what we're going to do. We don't allow outside. We don't allow outside sites, in our audience. This is for the fans. This is not for other people to promote their stuff. I mean, Steve obviously is on the show, so so that's different. But we're certainly not going to allow other people to come here and pimp their YouTube channels and whatever the hell they have. That's not. I
like the comment. Will Cousins ever win a big game?
I think he's got to get to a big game.
Get to a big game.
First, he's got to get to a big game.
Yeah.
Got the Cardinals visiting Baltimore. Kyler Murray. Got 2 Heisman winners here, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. Steve, what do you got for us in the Baltimore Ravens laying 13 points at home against the Arizona Cardinals?
I'm taking the Ravens. It's a lot of points, don't get me wrong. I'm not sold on Cliff Kingsbury being the coach of the Cardinals. Kyler Murray last week. Besides his fourth quarter, coming back to get the game tied, really struggled. I like what Baltimore's been doing. They've been retooling over the last 3-4 years. I'm a big John Harbaugh fan. Jackson obviously had a great week last week. He's a run threat first, but Jesus Christ, the stats last week passing were right on the money. 5 touchdown passes, a high completion percentage. I'm going to take the Ravens at home. I'm not sold on Kingsbury, as I said. I think the Cardinals, with a rookie quarterback in his second game, Heisman Trophy or not, I'll take the Ravens at home.
I'm not sold on Kyler Murray either, and I'll tell you, I love Lamar Jackson. I know that, I've heard all the things the last 2 years when I said that, that this guy's going to be an NFL superstar. Oh, he carries the ball like a loaf of bread. Yes, he does. He doesn't have the strong arm that some of the other guys. He only threw for 5 touchdowns last week. It was against the Dolphins, right? It was against, it was against the Dolphins.
It was against the Dolphins.
It was on the road. But the Arizona Cardinals have a long way to go, and I'm not a tall guy, and Kyler Murray's about my height, and I don't like that in the NFL, even if you're a guy that can get to the outside. I think that Kyler Murray is kind of like he's like Russell Wilson, but he's not as good, and it's like, I don't know. I like Russell Wilson. As much as I like Russell Wilson, I don't like Kyler Murray. And I'll tell you, I think the Baltimore Ravens just absolutely slaughter the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are one of the worst teams in the NFL. A lot of people have automatically given the Miami Dolphins the number 1 overall pick, but I think the Cardinals are going to give them a run for their money again. This is a team that's proved that they know how to get to that number 1 pick, and I think they're well on their way to getting there. I definitely love the Ravens in this one.
Me too.
So, what else we got? Packers, Vikings, over, under 43. I like the over in this one. Steve, any thoughts on the total? Or are you just I think points or a lot of points or no points in the Packers?
I like the over on this. I do. I think 43 over. No doubt.
I like the over as well. Over 43 Packers, Vikes. We go to our nation's capital, Washington, where the Redskins host the Cowboys in an NFC matchup. I took the Dallas Cowboys, were my Super Bowl pick for the NFL this season to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC. My pick was the Dallas Cowboys. My reasoning, probably not what Steve Monahan's reasoning is on this one. My reasoning is NFL ratings are really low. They weren't able to elevate them last year, putting Los Angeles in the Super Bowl, whatever it took to get them there, one of the worst playoff calls in history. It took that to get the Rams, the number 2 TV market to the Super Bowl. So what does the NFL do to boost ratings? They go to the Hail Mary. When all else fails, they sat around the table and said, I got it. Dallas Cowboys. And that's where we're going. I think the Cowboys are a Super Bowl team, and I think they have the pieces of the puzzle to make it a logical thing. Ezekiel Elliott, personally, off the field, I don't agree with one thing this guy says, does, the way he looks, any of those things. Right. On the field, he's, as I said the day he was drafted, the Cowboys got a home run hitter in Ezekiel Elliott. As we look, Dak Prescott. Steve was the guy from Michigan State. He thought he was the guy, and when they drafted Dak Prescott, my first words to him, "This is your guy." Because back then, the Cowboys' offensive line was a little bit softer than it is these days, and he was a guy who was a little bit more mobile and sturdy. And, we saw that come in handy. He doesn't have to do that as much as he used to, but I like what the Cowboys have done at wide receiver. I like what they're doing on defense, and like I said, they're a Super Bowl team. I think they win this game, but this is a divisional rivalry game. It's going to be a little bit more black and blue than people expect. I like the Cowboys to win the game. I like the home team with the points here. I like that Redskins defense. I know they let me down last week at Philly, but they did score that touchdown, that meaningless touchdown. Well, for some people it was meaningless. For us, of course, it meant the backdoor cover and the cash with the Redskins scoring the touchdown as time expired in the game to get us the cover. I'm going to take the Redskins at home with the points. I think Dallas wins the game probably by 3, in that 3 range, 3-4 range. I like the Redskins, the home dog in the rivalry game. Steve?
All right. Well, as I mentioned, I'm a Cowboy fan. I like to think I'm objective. To your point, there's not a lot of Dak lovers out there, but let's face the fact, he's going to get paid $1 more than Wentz. Is he worth it? In some people's opinions, no. I've been a fan of him since Mississippi State. I love his character. I like his leadership. I like, he's the counterbalance to Zeke off the field. To your point, Zeke is a home run hitter. He's led the league in rushing, the last 3 years now. He's going to do it again. The offensive line being healthy. Improved the defense. I love the Leighton Vander Esch pick last year, and Jalen Smith at linebacker. On and on and on. We got the Amari Cooper. 25 years have gone by since we've made a Super Bowl appearance. You got the Saints and the Rams. I think are still the two creme de la cremes of the NFC. We'll see what happens. Well, let's get back to today. Cowboys have won 5 consecutive games versus the NFC East. Darius Geist, their running back, is out for the Redskins. They got Case Keenum at quarterback. I know it's in the nation's capital. I'm taking my boys with the points.
We're getting
at it.
I can see it. This isn't a best bet for me by any stretch, with the Redskins here. But I don't know, man. I just love guys like Ryan Kerrigan. I just love that type of defense. Just real motor guys, guys that really come to play. They don't take a play off. And I think that's what we saw last week from the Redskins. Even when things started going against them in the second half against the Eagles, they still kept trying, and they said, you know what? Mitch gave us out on the show. We got to cover. And they come down. They score a touchdown. They cover the point. They're getting 10. They score the touchdown to end the game and cover the spread. They fall outside the number. They're like, we got to cover this number. They do it. And, I got a little bit of loyalty there. Now they're at home in this one. It is the home opener in Washington. Traditionally, a pretty tough building, and a tough building for the Dallas Cowboys. Hello, Blue FM. Welcome to the Doghouse, Steve. Nice to see you. I appreciate the respectful banter with no fluff.
Wow. Hey, thank you.
Thank you, bro. We appreciate that. Don Snow says the Steelers look bad. Yes, some baseball would be nice. Eagles, Falcons, over, under. Sunday night, 52.5. I like the over in the Eagles-Falcons game. I just think that we see a lot of points. I think this one's about the offense. We saw Deshaun Jackson, last week back with the Eagles putting points up. And I think with Ridley, Jones, and everybody else, Darren Sproles, this is an offensive game. Steve?
I'm just thinking on that one. 50. What did you say? It's 52 points?
52.5.
I like your points, especially with the passing game on both sides in the dome. I'm going to go with the under, actually. I'd say it'd probably be, early, low 20s scoring would be my guess, like a 24-21 type of thing. I'll go with the under on the points.
All right, so we disagree again, but that's okay. That's the idea of having other people. We don't always have to agree, just like in the Facebook group. We don't always agree, but somehow we always seem to get on more winners than losers, and that really is the most important part. Yep, we did have a great day yesterday, but we don't look back. We only look forward. Yep, the Seahawks love those games. We did this game, Jordy, so you have to hear the recap at the end.
Yeah, we need the Raiders, Chiefs, and I think we haven't covered the Colts and Titans.
No idea what these guys are talking about. We did this game. So, Chris, yep, we just did this one. We did this one. Will Cousins ever win the big game? He's got to get to the big game. I guess Steve saw that one over. YouTube notification came in at 10:21. So the YouTube notifications came in late, but 174 people watching us on YouTube, 231 people watching us overall. At least somebody gives a crap. So if it wasn't for you guys, I seriously appreciate everyone that tunes in, whether you tune in for 2 minutes, whether you tune in for the whole show, whether you ask a question, whether you never hit the thumbs up, whatever. I appreciate each and every one of you, because without you guys, I'm talking to myself, and that's weird. And, we see those guys on the street corner. Next, I'll start muttering, right? Isaac thinks you're boring, Steve. Says, you need to match my energy, but I think I am the energy guy, and it's like having someone to tone it down a little bit.
Who can match this energy?
Yeah, right? I don't think anyone could match my energy. Asks other people say I'm just old and crappy, so at least we have someone here that's willing to do a show with me. Chargers Lions over under 47. We did that one. Arizona Baltimore, we did it. Cowboys Skins. You think this is high scoring or low scoring? It's 48 is the total in this one.
Low scoring. I like the under.
So Steve likes the under 46. I don't have an opinion.
I think the Cowboys have sustained drives. Elliott, I look for Elliott to have a lot of.
I think there's going to be a lot of field goals in this game too. I'm with you. That's why I like the points. I think it's going to be low scoring. It's going to be dirty. Kansas City versus Oakland. He's got it wrong here. He says it's Oakland -7, but it's actually Oakland is +7 at home. Back-to-back games at home in the black hole, hosting the Chiefs in a rivalry game. Who do you like?
I like the Chiefs flat out. I think the Raiders defense, this rookie Abram got hurt. I think he was going to be a really good pro. The safety, first-round pick. I think there's a hole there. I like the Chiefs' firepower. I know, Tyreek Hill is out beside Travis Kelce, Mahomes, on and on. I'm going to go Chiefs. Really, I'll take the Chiefs flat out, no doubt, covering.
I like the Chiefs in this one, too. A little bit different reasoning. I think the Raiders coming off of the short week and the emotional game. I know the Chiefs have to go on the road in this one, and I know they have to go to the black hole. But Andy Reid seems to be a coach that traditionally, he doesn't really care much about that stuff. He gets beat by teams that are better than him, and I don't think the Raiders are a better team. I think he comes up with a game plan. He's got speed at other positions outside of Hill. And I think defensively they get the pressure.
Sammy Watkins went nuts last week, and if this guy's healthy, man.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Sammy Watkins is a former number 1 pick. As good as these Clemson receivers that we saw last night on the field, Sammy Watkins was one of the best to ever play there. And when he's on, there's a reason why he was I think he was the 4th or 5th pick overall in the NFL draft. And
Buffalo, right? Remember correct.
Yeah. There's a reation for that. I like the Chiefs in this one too. I'm rooting for the Raiders to be good, but I just think that it's going to be more of a process than something that happens overnight. We got the Titans -3 against the Colts.
You asking my opinion, or you going first?
Go for it. This is a tough one.
Not necessarily for me. I think the game is in Tennessee. I'm not sold on Jacoby Brissett. He's a nice player. Don't get me wrong. He's in a tough situation coming in, with Luck retiring. What did I see? I saw a stat here. Titans are 2-0 when Brissett has started against them. I like Vrabel as a defensive coach down in Tennessee. And the fact that they're home, Colts on the road, I like the Titans in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to side with you here. I don't love this game. This is one that I probably could have gone to the penny on this one. But the Titans, they were my top play last week against the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to have to go back with them. I think, Derrick Henry, Mariota, I think this defense, highly underrated. Last year, I thought the Titans were a team that really had no weaknesses, but they had some positions that they might be able to upgrade. I think this year that they're healthier and maybe a little bit better than they were, at least at this point in the season. I think the Colts with Brissett they're going to have some change in there. He is a veteran at this point in his career, but he's not a franchise quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. The Colts are a team that made it to the playoffs last year. They won a playoff game and then lost the playoff game. So they're no slouches. I think this is just good.
There's no doubt.
I think 3 looks right. If you're in a pool where ties lose and all that other stuff, I would just put a line through this one. I'm going to take the Titans. I'm going to lay the 3 points. I don't think that that's a popular pick.
Plus, I love Derrick Henry now.
I think a lot of people are on the Colts in this one.
Well, I'm going Titans.
So we'll move right along. Let's see. We just did this one. We did this game.
What we got? The Jets and Browns, though?
I don't know what these guys are saying. Lamar Jackson, Cowboys, Jacksonville, no. Cubs minus on the run line against the Pirates. We got, yesterday we did one baseball pick. We took the Mets against the Dodgers with DeGrom up against Ryu and cashed in on that one. Today we got Jose Quintana minus 245, and then he's minus 1. If you go on the run line, still negative money here against a Pirates team that's won 4 of their last 10. 34 and 43 on the roads. They're actually a better road team than they are at home. Meanwhile, the Cubs, 49 and 24, of course, fighting for that final wild card spot in the National League. I really hate the Cubs, and I really can't stand Jose Quintana. One of those guys that just absolutely gets shelled on a regular basis, but usually gets bailed out. Trevor Williams, to me, is one of those pitchers that always seems to get underrated for some reason. I know he's got the 4.34 ERA in his last 3 starts, but the Pirates have won all 3 of those games. Quintana 2-1 in his last 3 starts. You know, the Pirates, they hit lefties at a 241 clip. Of course, they hit righties at a 270 clip. Meanwhile, the Cubbies, 253 against the righties, only 236 against the lefties. I don't know, man. I see Cubs. I love betting against them. 2 teams I love to bet against in baseball, the Cubs and the Red Sox. Always way, way, way over bet. I think this is just way too much to be laying on the Chicago Cubs. I think you take the Pirates here outright on the money line.
Yeah.
Any opinion on Wrigley Field today?
Just the fact that the Cubs, like you said, with the wild card chase, I think they're 3 up on the Mets, or 3 or 4.
But they're tied. They're tied for the second wild card spot.
So they got incentive. You know, the Cubs still have the firepower from their World Series team. I love Chris Bryant, and I'm a Rizzo guy, and Joe Madden. I think
the guys I hate. He likes all the guys I hate.
Tough
all the guys Mitch hates. I like. Why don't you tell me you like the catcher that points to the thing, that does the Babe Ruth every time he hits a ground ball to the second baseman. I forget his name, but it's like I think he's out for the season. But and it's like and it's like this is the guy that they put the rule in right for the pitching visits to the pitching mound because he visits after every single pitch. It's like it's a discussion. It's not a game.
What are you talking about out here, people?
It's like the ump comes up and he's not telling him to get away from the mound. He says, "Why don't you just pull up a chair?" Because it's like
just text him from behind the plate, for Christ's sake.
You're obviously going to be here a while. Anyways, let's get rolling right along. Glad to have you guys back. Of course, we did Colts versus Titans.
Yep. I think we got the Jets and the Browns left, right?
Okay, more opinions here on Steve Monahan. Together, you stick to your opinions, lay with value for your audience. Never gets old. I've known Steve for a long time. It never gets old. It is a community here at Pick Dogs. It's all about our, joining in. We'll have the website up in the very, very near future, probably within the next 2 weeks. Of course, we have it going on all day long in the Facebook group. And, of course, I'm live every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys like what you see from Steve, we'll have him back all the time as well. Maybe not every day, but a lot of times. KC +7 for KC. They're not +7. It's like the Chiefs are -7. It's not +7. It's -7.
So, right.
Rams -1.5. Whatever. Yeah, the lines are going to move at this time of day. Tennessee has a chip on their shoulder out to prove something this season. Titans. I like the Titans too. They were my top play last week against the Browns. I put them up at the top of the screen. Wilson Contreras is the Cubs catcher that I hate.
That's right.
So
Thanks
I believe we have gone through we've run the gamut here. Let me just take a quick look at the schedule and see if there's any games that we missed.
Jets Browns. I don't think we talked. Did we?
Yeah, we don't do Monday. We only do the games that are the day of the game.
Okay.
We don't.
I'm a rookie.
We don't go too far into the future. We try and stick with. We got a pretty full plate here. Any other baseball game? Any baseball games that stick out to you where it's like, man, it's like with everyone on football today, there's some real value. With maybe the Rays out in Los Angeles. You got. The Seattle Mariners, who, they won those few games in Japan earlier this season. They haven't won since. You have, Zach Wheeler, who was drafted ahead of Mike Trout, going against the Dodgers tonight against Walker Buehler. Johnny Cueto, whose actual payroll per game with his second start of the year is now down to $10.5 million a game. As $21 million. This is the second start of the season. Of course, he was injured, but that's baseball guaranteed money. I tell you what, I really like Johnny Cueto tonight in the Giants. Cueto was on fire in that first game, and there's one guy that can really, really pitch. I like him, and so
that would be the Dodgers Mets tonight. That's a big game.
Yeah, Walker Buehler up against Zach Wheeler. The Mets 7-3 in their last 10. The Dodgers 6-4. Of course, we gave out the Mets yesterday with Jacob deGrom against Hyunjin Ryu, who, this guy, I used to smoke too. I know Ryu, he's a smoker, and this is why I always say in the second half of the season, it kind of wears on him a little bit. We saw Ryu in the first half of the season. He was the All-Star Game starter. Definitely a guy that people were talking about Cy Young Award, and my prediction was, this is a guy who's going to play to the back of his baseball card, and we're going to see some really, really big numbers out of him. And he pitched exceptional yesterday. The bullpen let him down. Wheeler, 1.50 ERA in his last 3 starts. The Mets 3-0. Walker Buehler, 3-0 in his last 3 starts with a 3.00 ERA.
He's a good pitcher, this Buehler.
This is a good game.
Right? Got a good earned run, 3.14.
Yeah, this is a good game. Walker Buehler's,
Mets got to win this, though. Mets are starting to run out of time, man. So if they're going to make a play, this is the time to do it. This is a big game for the New York Mets tonight to win.
Yeah, it's one question per person. I see a lot of people asking now questions, same people over and over again asking questions, but it's one question per person. And, of course, when you ask a question, Team A versus Team B with the point spread. But, definitely a good job by Steve Monahan. His first time ever in the doghouse. He does a podcast with his brother Jim, but it's not like being on live with a live audience asking questions. We have a great crowd here. I mean, some people would say it's a tough, it's a tough crowd, whatever. We're tough because we don't take shit from anybody else. But if you're inside with us, all good. If you're somebody else that we don't know, that's a different story. But if you're inside the doghouse and you're one of us, then it's all good.
Where's Sam today? Where's Sam the lab? Is he sitting around by you today?
Sam is still sleeping.
Oh, okay. Tell Sam I said hello. But Mitch, I also wanted to thank you very much for having me on today, and thank you to the audience members for your comments and questions, and I'd love to be back, and we'll talk football or whatever you want to talk. Whenever you want to invite me back, I appreciate it. And thanks again for mentioning the podcast.
We're not leaving yet. We still got a couple minutes.
I'm very grateful for this appearance.
All right, let's
I shut up.
Pretty much. Cameron wants to know if we got any money line dogs here. That's all. That's nice of you to say. But we got a couple money line dogs for you.
Yeah, brother.
Steve's like, dogs? I had a Chicago dog last night. But anyways, money line dogs. I like the Denver Broncos at home here against the Bears. I think they have a good shot at the money line. I think Seattle Seahawks have a good chance. I think the Redskins have a chance against the Cowboys. I think the Giants have a chance to win outright as well. I think, of course, the Miami Dolphins have a chance to beat the Patriots at home. They've beaten them at home 5 of the last 6. And in week 1, week 2 is always one of the biggest changes, of any time of the season. But anyways, we're gonna recap. Yeah, we don't take any shit from people inside the doghouse either. But anyways, we thank the hundreds and hundreds of readers that have and viewers that have come on the show today, and we're just gonna recap. In the Dolphins-Patriots game, Steve laid the 19 with the Pats. I took the Dolphins plus the 19. I took the Giants plus 2 points as a home dog. I think they have a chance to win outright. Steve took the Bills at -2. I took the over in the Texans-Jags game at 43. Steve took the Texans at -7.5. I took the Jags at plus 7.5. I just think divisional game, the hook, it's just a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of defense in that game. Chargers -1.5 against the Lions. This is my paycheck game. I just love betting against the Lions. I love betting against Matt Patricia. Belichick disciples, not necessarily good head coaches. We don't really look. Charlie Weiss. You got Romeo Crennel. You got Brian Flores in Miami too. But he never really climbed the Belichick food chain like a lot of these other flops. So he hasn't really been tainted as much. And of course, we got the. We both took the Rams at -2.5. I took the Bengals. We both took the Bengals as a pick'em. I took the Seahawks plus 3.5. Steve took the Steelers. I think this is a muddy, dirty game. That I don't mean like dirty played. I just think that this is like a sloppier game. And I think the points are going to definitely come in a factor. I think Seattle's going to have a chance to win this game. I'm looking for the crap call to go in the direction of the Steelers, though, to preserve the win, and the crap call to go against Clappy and the Seahawks. And I think, we'll see some clapping out of Pete Carroll in this. And Russell Wilson will be, moving him, Clappy will be clapping, and there'll be a sack, and Clappy will clap. And I like the over claps.
I'm familiar with the act.
I like the over 260 on the claps by Clappy. I like the Packers -3, Aaron Rodgers. Steve's with me on that one. We both took the Broncos in the points. I think they have a chance to win that one outright. I took the Falcons. Steve took the Falcons as well in the home opener. I like the over 43 in the Falcons game. Steve likes the under. I took the Redskins +6. Steve took the Cowboys -6. I took the over 52.5 in the Falcons-Eagles. Steve took the under. I took the Chiefs -7, so did Steve, and we both took the Tennessee Titans -3. Once again, thanks Steve Monahan for joining us here in the Doghouse. You guys in the Facebook group, let me know what you think. We'll have Steve back as much or as little as you guys want. It's up to you. It's your show. Anyways, this is Mitch. Thanks for joining me, Steve.
People, come back.
Steve, thanks for joining us in the Doghouse. Thanks for throwing us a bone and joining us in the Doghouse. Look for those pup sets today. We're all over it. This is Mitch for Steve Monahan. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you guys maybe at halftime of one of these games or something. Maybe halftime of the early games I'll come on. I'll see you guys later on.
Thanks again. Bye.